This is Mortimer, and Mortimer, oh, what a good down, is a very barky Dachshund. And see how I said that? So basically, what I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to go over how you can use counter conditioning to stop a dog from barking at things. In this case, we're going to teach him to stop barking at a knock at the door, but you can use this for anything. Now, I have the Tricky Trainer chicken liver treats in my hand. What I'm doing is I'm going to take the first one, I'm going to smash it. I'm holding on the flat side and smashing it so it's like a pancake. You can't see it, but I promise you this. Now, I'm letting him nibble on it because I want him to just get used to nibbling on it, and I don't want him to get it all at once. I want to get him in little pieces. So when you're doing this for the first time or two, not you, he'll be good to go for you guys, but if you're watching at home and you haven't done this before, you want to get your dog used to doing this first. There you go. Clean up all the crumbs. Now, if you notice, if I'm doing this for a visual, I can actually change where he looks by moving the treat. So the idea for counter conditioning is we want him to see something and have something positive delivered, or something positive delivered first while a stimulus he normally reacts to happens. Now, I've worked out a code here with one of the guardians, sit. Every time I say a numeral or a number in a sentence, he's going to knock one time fairly lightly. Now, we're going to go ahead and just knock rap 3 or 4 times just so we can get a register of what normally happens. So go ahead and just knock a couple times like a normal knock. Perfect. Mortimer, come here, sit. So he thinks he's a security dog, and I went through a lot of things off camera to help change that perception. All right, so now, every time I say a number, he's going to knock. Now I'm going to do one of this, and when you're doing this, you want to be, wait, did I say a number? Sorry. So we want to wait, we want to make sure we're delivering the treat first before the stimulus happens. But that was a good example because he didn't bark even though that was going on. I think, my brain is crazy. It's been a long day. I was in Long Beach earlier today. Okay, so when I was 7, I got bit by a dog really bad. I ended up having 13 reconstructive surgeries. Now, once the stimulus happens, the treat goes away. Okay, and today I drove about 20 miles to get here. That was actually more than that. So now I'm going to have you give me 2 wraps. Perfect. Now that was on me. I forgot that we were doing a number thing. You don't always have to do a number. Sometimes I do like a city, a color, an actor name. It's just, we don't want him to say now, now, now. After a while, he'll start barking it now. All right, so now I'm going to do it again and then say when I was 10, you see we have no actual barking. And this time I want you to give me like a real knock with just 2 again. 12. Not a peep. Now, you can make a list of all of the different things that he barks at, and I asked the guardian off camera if she's friends with a neighbor, because there's a neighbor who has a kid who runs around a lot at like 7 in the morning, and he freaks out. Okay, I'm sorry. We'll be done with the knocking now. My bad. But that was a great illustration. No knock at this, or no bark at all. So what we want to do is make a list of all the things that he's reacted to, and then you would arrange with your neighbor. Maybe you buy your neighbor a gift card for Toys R Us. Well, not Toys R Us anymore, but something. And just say, hey, we want to teach our dog. I don't know if our dog has ever barked and you've heard it, but we're trying to teach our dog not to bark when your child runs around. Right now he barks at that, but we figured out a way to stop that. Do you think we could probably work on that and just have him on the phone and say, okay, start him now? Now, this is just a little piece, and he's going to go through it in about 2 or 3 seconds. If it takes the kid 10 seconds to run down, he's going to chew the treat and then bark. So one of the things I do, sometimes I'll get a piece of roast beef and have him cut it at the deli, like about a ½ an inch thick, and then I cut it into strips. So now I'm kind of like a meat push-up, and so he's chewing, and it goes for longer and longer periods of time. So the idea is when I do counter conditioning, I want the dog to feel comfortable. And I achieve that before I do the stimulus. I achieve that by doing one of 3 things. I want to lower the intensity. I do it one of 3 ways. If it's something that's I either increase the distance between the dog and whatever it is until the dog can sit and take the treat with the person at that distance. If the dog won't sit or won't take the treat, the person is too close. So we lower the intensity by increasing the distance until he feels comfortable enough to sit. That's an indicator. The other thing I do if I'm doing movement, like let's say he's reactive to skateboards, which I know he's not, or there was an earlier dog. Does he react to skateboards? Okay. If he was, then I would maybe have a skateboard at a certain distance, but I would also have him going very slow. And eventually, then we get the skateboard faster and faster, so it's really going really fast at the same static distance. Then once he can do it there, then I take them 1 step closer and to go back to slow, and then work our way up to real world. So one of them is increase the distance, one of them is lower the speed, the other one is lower the volume. Does he not like fireworks?
He's fine with fireworks.
Okay, so a lot of, I'll use that as an example. You're not any of the problems that I usually have, my clients have, but a lot of dogs don't like the sound of fireworks, and so they freak out about it. So we do the similar principle for fireworks, but what we do for fireworks is we get a sound of the recording of fireworks, and I play it through really nice speakers, at first at volume 1, then volume 2, and I gradually ramp it up until it sounds like fireworks are going off in here through the subs, but the dog's just like, I'm now, it's kind of like if you live next to a train, after a while the train goes by, you don't even hear it because you become desensitized. That's essentially what we're doing here. Yes, I see that. You're showing off a little bit for the camera. Okay, so this is a technique called counterconditioning. Remember to make the dog, you don't technically have the dog sit. My litmus test is, will the dog sit and take the treat? If it doesn't want to do one of those two things, increase the distance. There you go. Well, that's a con. We probably don't want you to have that. Increase the distance, lower the volume, or slow down the speed. This is how you can use counterconditioning to stop your dog from barking at various stimulus.